Why does, if someone came up to me and was like, your body is gold, I wish I looked like you, do we not go, yeah, you're right. Like, I should be happy with what I've got. Why is that not a thing? Asking for a friend. Somebody do therapy with me. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm so excited to be back on the potty today. I have had a lot of thinking, a lot of people coming to me for advice, and just, when you have an idea, the universe has a way of bringing all the information to you. So I really want to talk about confidence today and self-love and self-worth. I know you might be thinking, Jade, is that not the whole purpose of your podcast? It is. However, you guys know me. If you've been listening for a while, I like to talk about my own personal experiences, and obviously as a self-love and confidence and empowerment coach for females, I come across a lot of different scenarios and questions and things throughout my week in my job. So I have a lot of realizations and stuff that I want to share. And thankfully, I have this program, or not this program, I have this platform with you guys to do that. So super excited. Going to be super raw and authentic with you guys today, but hopefully you leave this episode today feeling a little bit better about yourself. You'll have some aha moments. And if it ticks your brain enough, hopefully some questions. And I will leave some space for you guys at the end. I'm talking like this is a live fucking seminar or something, and I'm going to take questions at the end of this podcast. No, as always, I will give you guys the platform to ask me questions is where I was going with that. So I'll plug all of the socials and everything at the end. So make sure you stick around to the end to find out how we can get in touch if you need some support or you have questions. Okay, before we get into today's confidence topic, let's go to recommendations. So if you're a big festival goer like me, you will find this one very interesting. I found a documentary on Binge. I believe it was on Binge, if memory serves me well. Here's a recommendation, but I can't remember where you can watch it. Have fun. Oh, okay. So it's actually on Netflix. Okay, I found this. Guys, okay, this documentary called Woodstock 99. Trainwreck Woodstock 99, and it's on Netflix. Okay, now I have always thought of Woodstock as this peace and love, like beautiful time in the 70s. I think it was this incredible festival, just like hundreds of thousands of people coming together, like smoking weed, no worries, peace and love, let's all support each other kind of feel. I didn't realize that the creators, the founders of the Woodstock Festival actually recreated Woodstock a couple of times. I just thought there was one Woodstock. It went down in history. That's it. But my friends, they tried to do it twice. The second time they did it, the weather was horrendous, like mudslides and just awful, like Splendor in the Grass this year. So that didn't work to plan, right? And apparently they lost a lot of money. So in 1999, they wanted to redo the festival, but just as big. And I think like in the festival owner's mind, it was definitely to make profit. Like they needed to make profit at this festival or Woodstock was over. So right from the get-go, the documentary around Woodstock 99 was that the original theme and reason for the original Woodstock being peace, love, unity, like everybody is supporting everybody, kind of went out the window, and it became about consumerism and, the politics behind all just fucking money pretty much. And there were some incredible artists at this Woodstock lineup. And it definitely being in the 90s, there was a different feel. It was a different time. There was a lot more of that stereotypical like frat boy presence. Just people fucking getting hammered. And I think in the first day it was fine, and then a lot of things started to go wrong at the festival. The water was polluted with like feces, so the water that people were drinking and showering in was polluted, and festival goers found none of the toilets were clean, so it was just like shit everywhere. People were not allowed to bring their own water in, but the prices of food and water and drinks in the festival was like astronomical. If you think back then, I think they were saying outside of the festival back in those days, like 1999 was fucking 100 years ago, was like 30 cents, I think, for a bottle. And in the festival, they were charging $7 for a bottle. And by day 3, I think a bottle of water was like $16. So all these things started to add up that the festival really wasn't for the people. It wasn't about peace, love, unity, bringing everyone together for the love of music. It was, or at least the festival goers felt like they were being fucking taken advantage of. Like, I'm taking them for a ride. I'm taking them for all their money. Let's just get as much money out of these kids, literal kids, like as much as we can by the end of this weekend. And everyone was just fucking exhausted from heat exhaustion. For some reason, they held the festival for 250, 300,000 people in a military base, which was on a like bits of concrete, bits of tarmac. So not only was it scorching hot, but obviously the heat was bouncing off tarmac and concrete. So they were even hotter, and no one could afford water. They couldn't drink the water because it was nasty and people were just getting really fucking fed up. And I think Saturday night and then all of Sunday, there was just absolute chaos. Like people were rioting, looting, there was like fights breaking out, they were damaging festival property, they tore down like all the really high speaker stands, like the towers that held all the speakers, and pulling down the infrastructure of this festival. And unfortunately, there was a lot of sexual assaults that happened in the festival. Like they were really low on security. So people were just fucking doing whatever the hell they wanted. And right at the end, for some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to give 250,000 people a candle. They say the festival organizers said the intention was everybody would light a candle at the end of the 3 days in memory of, I think the Columbine High School massacre had just happened, like a shooting massacre. And gun violence was like a really big thing. It had just started becoming a really big thing. So they were holding, like lighting candles for the people that had passed away from gun violence. And for some reason, they thought giving that many people a candle after they had been treated like shit the whole weekend, probably starving to death, hungover, like hadn't had a proper drink of water, heat exhaustion. They gave them lit flames. So they lit the festival on fire. Literally, they started making fires. They were throwing wood in the fires. There was like fucking fire after fire after fire. And then you can imagine 250,000 people together leaving the main stage, pissed off. Like, the festival's finished. I'm fucking starving. I haven't had a proper drink. Like, fuck this festival. It's all about consumerism. Like, fuck this. This is not the proper Woodstock. And they started rioting. Like, they went to all of the stalls where they were selling merch, artists, CDs and t-shirts and stuff like that. And they were rampaging these poor stalls, like stealing everything. They got to the ATMs. They were like ripping ATMs apart. They were burning everything. They were pulling down the walls of the festivals. And the staff had to barricade themselves in the office because they were scared of what was going to happen to them. It looked like the apocalypse, like they were zombies climbing the infrastructure and like tearing shit down. And it took like the police with batons and shields to come in to break it up. But I can understand. I've been to like 3-day weekend festivals. Like, I've been to Tomorrowland, and it's the most organized, well looked after facility I've ever been to. So I can imagine being at a 3-day festival, just not being able to afford food, not being able to afford water, but then the free water is contaminated. Like you get real grumpy when you haven't eaten properly. You get grumpy when you're exhausted from the heat. Like I can imagine. And they were saying it was just like a pack mentality, like people that would never be violent in their life because they were put through these conditions and everybody around them was rioting. They were like, fuck it, I'm going to riot with them. So 250,000 people like left the main stage, and you could see it. They just like were coming, the zombie apocalypse, like a field of black darkness. It's just all these people like chanting and throwing shit. Yeah, and the staff barricaded themselves and called the police. And it's sad to think that there obviously a few bad apples have to start that kind of behavior, right? And it gives me so much anxiety watching the footage of people in the mosh pits. Like they were suffocating and getting trampled. Like I know what it's like to be in a really strong mosh where you're getting pulled. Like you can't touch the ground. Like your feet are off the ground and you just have no choice but to follow the swaying direction of the mosh. And the most fucked up thing that made me so sick, and there's footage of it all, is this was a time like, especially for Woodstock, the ideologies of just freedom and free sexuality and all that stuff. So the women there were people walking around naked. The females all had their shirts off. But there were girls on shoulders in the mosh pits and they had their shirts off. And guys were like grabbing their boobs, twisting their nipples. Like girls were trying to body surf or crowd surf and they had their shirts off. And instead of like moving the girl through the mosh pit to like jump the fence at the front, they were like all grabbing her breasts and like pulling her shirt and like just molesting her pretty much while she had no way of stopping them because she was just crowd surfing. And it just made me fucking sick that people think it's okay to just grab other people's bodies like that just because it's there in front of you does not fucking mean that you can touch it. And I just felt sick watching it, and I was so mad that this shit happens. And I just felt awful for the girls. And, you know, obviously when the festival finished, it came out that there were sexual assaults in the festival grounds and no one did anything to stop it. And some other major shit happened, but I think you'll definitely have to watch the documentary. And it was just an eye-opener, and it's really upsetting that for something that was so contrasted to the original Woodstock, you look at the footage, like everybody's just so chill. And they were saying the music obviously was very different because, you know, 90s was all about rock and roll and like heavy metal and hard, aggressive music. And a lot of the sexualized stuff had started coming out, whereas, you know, 60s and 70s and stuff were way more chill, like acoustic guitar versus electric guitar kind of genres. And the artists that they had on, like you could see they were amping up the crowd and people were just fucking going mental. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Some parts are really hard to watch, but I'm just very interested in like the whole festival scene, and it's really unfortunate that it could have been something so beautiful. And imagine going there in 1999 knowing that you are a part of like Woodstock history and you're going to this beautiful peace and love festival and it fucking turns out to be Fyre Festival. Like not at all what you're expecting, right? So Trainwreck, Woodstock 99 on Netflix. Give it a watch. Let me know what you think. Send me some messages. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, confidence. As you guys know, I'm a big advocate for self-love and self-worth, and I've been having a lot of conversations recently. And if you didn't listen to last week's episode with Chandra, make sure you do. Just listening to her really inspired me and was really ticking my brain for a whole week afterwards, because as a plus size model and someone that wasn't brought up with a lot of self-love and self-worth ideologies has really turned it around for herself. And to hear her speak about herself and how much she loved herself really just shone empowerment and confidence, and fucking gets me excited, man. It tingles me in all the right places. And I was kind of thinking about our own self-worth issues. Like if someone like Chandra, through everything she's been through to her point in her career, in her life now, can love herself that much, and then every single person looks different, feels different, but it's your mindset that you need to work on. You will never feel confident no matter how much you change your body, no matter how much you morph or filter or inject or whatever you're doing to try and feel beautiful. It's the mindset that you need to change. Otherwise, it's a constant losing battle. It's the constant chase for something that will never be good enough. So you need to change the mindset first and spend the money, spend the time and energy fixing this, fixing the mindset, retraining yourself to fall in love with yourself again. Otherwise, it's a losing battle. It's a constant, endless loop of trying that one more thing, 1 more millimeter on my lip, or I'll need to dye my hair, or 10 more kilos and I'll be happy. Like, it never happens. It never comes. That thirst, that hunger is never met because this isn't fixed. The mind needs to be fixed first. You need to fall in love with yourself. And what does that look like to you? What does self-love look like to you? What does it mean to you? And before you answer that question, it's about understanding why you don't love yourself right now. What has taken that confidence away in the first place? Where has that self-worth gone? Because we're not born insecure. I talk about this all the time. We're not born with insecurities. We're not born doubting ourselves and looking at ourselves in the mirror and going, I don't like that. So where has it come from for you? Who took your confidence away, or what took your confidence away? What situation, what person, what did you watch or read? And until you understand that pattern or what's happened to you up until this point, it's really hard to turn the confidence around or turn it back on. So first, try and understand where has it come from for you? What's happened up until this point, right? So I watch this all the time on social media, and I actually saw this video the other day and I saved it and I might put it on my story. But I saw this video the other day of this girl who was very open and honest about her self-love journey. And she had photos and videos of herself at each point. And, you know, that normal photo of us when we're younger, we have real thin eyebrows, like full makeup, like real young looking. And then she had the voiceovers of, I'm not happy with myself, like maybe I'll just change my hair color and then I'll be happy. And the next photo would be her with different hair color. And she's like, oh, I'm nearly there. Like, I just need lip filler and then I'll be happy with myself. Then she gets the lip filler and she's like, oh, nearly there. Like, I think I might get my boobs done. I can't remember exactly what she did, but you get the idea. And then I'll lose 5 kilos. And then as soon as I fit in this dress, or as soon as my stomach is flat, then I'll feel better about myself. But unfortunately, I think it's this long, drawn out battle of your mind is the biggest thing, your mindset. Because if you fix something, quote unquote, fix it, it's like a Band-Aid. It's a temporary feeling of satisfaction, like, oh, tick, like I'm one step closer toward that confident being, or whatever the fuck the confident being is. None of us know. It's this constant battle you're going to have with yourself. And it's like, if you don't fix your mindset first, if your mindset in your subconscious is, I don't value myself, or I don't love myself, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not worthy of happiness, or whatever that belief system is subconsciously, it will always overtake that surface level Band-Aid of fixing yourself in the moment. So you'll always have something you're not happy about. Even if you right now don't think you're fat, you just want bigger boobs, you'll fix your boobs, quote unquote, fix your boobs, and then you find something else to pick out. You might go, now I want my waist to be smaller, or now I want my legs to be skinnier, or whatever it is. You will always find something new. And this is the case with me. If I look back on my confidence and self-worth journey, there has always been parts of my body that I'm not happy with. And now I can look back, I used to be self-conscious about that. Now I don't give a fuck. But now I'm self-conscious about things that I was never self-conscious about 10 years ago. Like, it's a constant battle of fixing things on your body. And to me, I have either been self-conscious or loved part of my body based on what was happening around me or what people told me. I love parts of my body now because my current partner loves them. It's like his thing. He loves girls that have X, Y, and Z. And not that that matters. That's not anything bad to my partner. It's just in my head that makes me feel good because I have that, if that makes sense. And I never used to be self-conscious about my toes until someone pointed out my toes were different, right? And I used to be so self-conscious about the stretch marks on my hips because apparently it's a thing that back then when I was self-conscious about it, I think I was 12, I had stretch marks because I was always the tallest in my group. And stretch marks, honeys, it's fucking skin growing quickly. That's all it is. Like, that's Mother Nature. You cannot do anything about that. You can't prevent it, right? That's all it is. But I never ever saw anyone with stretch marks on their hips. It was a thing for like pregnant ladies on their belly. That was my knowledge as a 12-year-old, right? And I remember a family member said to me, like, I was wearing like a crop top or something. And they said, "What's that on your hips?" And I said, "Stretch marks." And they were like, "I thought only pregnant people had stretch marks." And in my head, I was like, okay, so I'm not fucking normal then. That's great. And I was so self-conscious about my hip stretch marks. But now I've got so much other stuff that I worry about. I completely forget that I have hip stretch marks. Like they're not even a thing to me. Like I literally don't see them. Like I could take a photo in a bikini and that is not what I look at all. Like I do not give a fuck that I have stretch marks. And it's interesting with like beauty trends and what's in, what's out. This is why I'm really hesitant for people to change their body, because you're changing your body to suit what's in, what's quote unquote in at the time. What's trendy? Big lips, big bum, small waist, big hips. Like you are literally doing things to change your body to suit society's standard of beauty or what's trendy at the moment. And so there comes in ebbs and flows where you might feel confident because maybe you have naturally big lips, or maybe you naturally have an hourglass figure. So you're like, fuck yes, I feel confident because I'm on trend. Like my body is trending right now. And when that goes out of trend, like the, who's the really thin model? Kate Moss, like the Kate Moss era of modeling when she was just stick thin, like that was a trend. That fucking body was a trend. And it's disgusting that a body type can be a trend. And this is why I think it's so important to work on your mindset, because if you can train yourself to love yourself no matter what other people think, no matter what other people say, no matter what the trends are for bodies, for beauty, then it won't matter, because at the end of the day, you love yourself. Imagine waking up in the morning and just loving yourself. Like you wear whatever the hell you want to wear. You do your makeup the way you want to do it because that's where you feel most confident. You don't have to do a certain beauty trend because that's what's on trend if it doesn't make you feel like yourself and make you feel happy. Same with hairstyles, hair colors. Trends will always come and go, but confidence shouldn't be a trend. You shouldn't have to morph yourself into whatever the trends are to force your confidence. And I think that's why a lot of people feel self-conscious or doubt themselves, because they don't fit the beauty standards at the time. They don't fit with what other people are saying is beautiful or sexy or whatever it is. And you shouldn't have to morph yourself to fit those ideologies. You should just fucking love yourself for the way you are. And I'm being super raw and authentic. There are things that I get self-conscious about, right? And I want to talk about this. My recent experiences have been, and I just want to preface, confidence is an ongoing thing. And like we spoke about last week's episode, you'll have those moments where you doubt yourself, and that's okay. It's like mental health. Some days you're fine. Some days you're fucking crashing and burning, right? It's the same with confidence and self-love. If you have those really empowering days, great. But don't judge yourself if you start to slip back into self-deprecation or you slip back into that self-doubt, it's okay. Like, you're a human fucking being. As long as you're working on it and taking care of yourself and being gentle on yourself, never ever criticize yourself, never judge yourself. You know, you're a human being and you're beautiful just the way you are. So be gentle with yourself. It's been a hell of a journey. How do you feel about yourself right now compared to 10 years ago? Vastly different, I hope. And in some ways good, some ways bad. Maybe you picked up new self-doubt habits, but maybe you've improved your confidence in other areas. And this just isn't just about your body or the way you look. It's about your mindset. It's about your career, your relationships, your personality. Like, were you super immature 10 years ago and now you're a kind human being? Did you had no voice 10 years ago and now you're super confident and assertive? Like, what are you proud of? What are you working on? And how have you improved? Not just physically as well. But I wanted to preface that before we move into this age thing that's coming up for me, right? I'm lately, and I pride myself on always being some sort of confident and proud of myself. And now that I'm getting older, the big 3-0 is creeping up. I am discovering new things that I'm self-conscious about. And I wouldn't say self-conscious, like I don't really care about it, but it's things I'm starting to notice. And that is things with age. Like, I've had gray hair since I had my first gray hair when I was like 17. So my mum was gray really early, but obviously added stress that I went through and everything. My roots are gray. Like, it's something at the age of 29 that I have to fucking maintain every month. Let me just correct myself. I don't have to maintain. I don't have to do anything, but I want to, because society has made me feel like it's not okay to have gray hair at the age of 29. Like, when you're fixated on something on your body that you're not confident about, you look at it in everybody else. Like, if you're self-conscious about your nose, you will look at other people's noses and compare and go, I wish I had her nose. Her nose looks great. Why does my nose look like that? But with me, for my gray hair, like, I look at all my friends and I'm like, you don't have to dye your hair once a month. Like, I look at Kim Kardashian on the Kardashian show, and their hair looks great because there's no brown spray in their hair. There's no like little gray sprouting, not that they talk about anyway, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you focus on things that you yourself are self-conscious about. So me, I've noticed, like, I've always had big eyes and like high arch eyebrows, and the elasticity in my goddamn face, I think that's what it is, fucking gravity, is taking a hold at my age, and my eyebrows are starting to like not droop, but they're not as springy. So I'm starting to get hooded eyelids, and that's not the bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just not what my face has ever looked like. So I'm now consciously aware that gap between like my brow and my eyelashes is getting shorter because my skin is becoming less youthful, if you like. And that's just something I've noticed about myself. So now I'm like, fuck, confidence and self-worth comes in like milestones and ages, right? So I've worked so hard to love myself up until this point. Now you're telling me my whole body and face is going to start changing. Like, I did not sign up for this, right? No, I've done too much work to fall in love with myself just the way I am. And now you're telling me age is taking over? Like, what is this? And I wanted to talk about it because it's a very real feeling. And I also acknowledge that with pregnancy, my body is going to completely change. And hats off to all the fucking mamas out there that are on their self-worth journey, because I'm dealing with aging and I haven't even had a baby yet, and I know your body changes. So I want to fucking take a hot mignola to take my hat off to the mamas out there that are feeling confident in their skin and working on themselves and their self-worth and confidence if you've had bubs, because it's a whole other spectrum of things to try and deal with. Like, as women, I can only speak for women. I'm sure men go through it too. But as women, there is so much pressure put on us to look a certain way, to feel a certain way, to fit a certain size, a beauty standard, a body type, or whatever. And then we naturally age. Our bodies naturally change to fucking give life on this planet. And it's like we're already chasing or on this battlefield of confidence and self-worth and trying to fit your ideologies. And now you're telling me I'm aging and I'm gonna have babies? Like, what is going on? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to keep up with everything. The biggest thing is your mindset. And I know I keep throwing it out there, like, just work on your mindset and you'll feel better. I know it's tough, but I think the biggest thing I'll preach is awareness precedes change. Like, why don't you feel confident? Is it something someone said to you? Is it something you watch on TV? For example, I, for the first time in my life, need to acknowledge that maybe I watch too much The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because I know they all get Botox and they talk about it openly. Like, it's not a bad thing if you want to do that. And I have always been like, I don't really think I'm going to get Botox. Like, I'm happy to age gracefully, blah, blah, blah. You say that until you fucking go through it, right? Like, I sit there in the mirror now and like pull my eyebrow up slightly, just going, if I get a little bit there, like my eye would sit higher. And that just makes me look fucking 10 years younger from that little bit. Like, and then I go through all of this stuff that people have had done and wonder if it's a possibility. And then I smack myself and go, whoa, like, whoa, we're going down this rabbit hole. And I can see where some people would get addicted to this. And then it's like, if you're not fucking careful, if you don't stop yourself and go, hang on a minute, like, let's spend the time working on the mind, because that's how people go in this fucking, this deep black hole of needing to fix everything to feel happy. And again, do not give a fuck if people get plastic surgery. I do not give a fuck if people have fillers or Botox. I love using filters. I'll say it. Like, there's nothing wrong with using filters. If it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel beautiful, if you feel confident enough to take 100 selfies and post 99 of them, like, get a filter. Like, I am not going to sit here and say everybody needs to be barefaced and feel beautiful. I'm a believer of, everyone deserves to feel confident and happy and feel beautiful. So do whatever it is that makes you feel like that. But let's talk about the fact that it's probably a lot less expensive and long term. Who gives a fuck about the money, right? It's long term. No matter what age you are, no matter what lifestyle milestone you hit, if you had a better mindset, self-worth from deep within, it doesn't matter what life throws at you, aging, giving birth, whatever, you will love yourself no matter what. So it's like the long-term effects of putting your mindset first would be way more beneficial than that short, temporary Band-Aid quick fix. Little something injected here, little lip explosion there, like whatever it is. That was a bit intense. We don't explode our lips, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I just wanted to authentically talk about this change that my body is going through. Why you're no elastic? Why my face not elastic anymore? Is that a fucking thing? Like, is that why we age, like the elasticity in our face? See, I don't even know. I just know that it's happening to me and I'm not happy about it. Okay. So how do you fix that? Do I drink more water? Do I go to the gym? Like, what do I do? I don't have hundreds of dollars to invest in good skincare. I think like, I know it's going to happen anyway, but you know, I'm ready for it. I'm embracing it. But I really, really wanted to jump on today and talk about this. It's something I see all the time. And it's also this circle. Like, if you picture all these women standing in a circle facing forward, like they're chasing each other, kind of. You have a plus size girl and then like normal, whatever fuck normal is. And then like all the way to perhaps someone that's anorexic, and everybody is looking in front of them going, I wish I looked like her. And the person in front is, I wish I looked like her. And it's always, we want what we don't have, or we want what we don't have yet. It's instilled in us from when we were fucking kids. Like, I'm playing with this toy, but that person is enjoying their toy, so I want that toy. Like, why is it the same with our bodies, right? And why is it not enough for, like, just because someone is standing behind you going, I want your body, that doesn't make us love ourselves. Why? If someone came up to me and was like, your body is gold, I wish I looked like you, do we not go, yeah, you're right, like, I should be happy with what I've got? Why is that not a thing? Asking for a friend. Somebody do therapy with me. What a fucking wise episode, you guys. I love what I think we should really focus on, and it's a skill. Like I always say, we weren't born with self-doubt or insecurity, so they were brought upon us or was taken away from us in some way, shape, or form. We are the only people that are responsible and can take action about how we feel about ourselves and how we think about ourselves. So it is like learning to play a fucking instrument. It's like learning to ride a bike. It takes practice. So what are you doing daily to practice the skill of self-love and confidence? Is it daily affirmations? It's literally training your brain to think that you're beautiful, even though you are. We're tricking our brain and forcing our brain to learn that skill of confidence. So is it daily positive affirmations? Do you say one thing in the morning about what you love about yourself and why you're great? And again, it doesn't always have to be beauty and physical. What do you love about your personality? What are you proud of? It's that positive self-talk, right? I always encourage my clients to do a gratitude list. So what are you grateful for? In my program that I run, I actually do the 100 list, and people get really stuck with it. You have to write 100 things that you're grateful for, and you might bang out the first 50 and then be like, oh, what else am I grateful for? What else do I appreciate that I've overcome or I've done for myself? Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. And do yourself a favor and do an audit on social media, because that's a lot of where we feed these ideologies from, like the TV shows we watch, the influencers we follow. What information are you feeding your brain subconsciously? So take a good hard look around you. What people are you hanging around with? What environments are you in? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? You get the idea. So I would love to hear you guys. Where are you at in your self journey? What have you overcome, and what are you trying to overcome at the moment? And I would love for you guys to, if you're listening to this episode, screenshot it and share it on your Instagram and tag me. Write something that you're proud of. Write something that was an aha moment for you listening to this. What is your biggest takeaway from it? And if you guys want to connect further, I would love to listen to any questions you guys had, or let's just chat. Let's be gals, So jump on my Instagram, which is Jade Delpup Coaching. It'll be in the show notes for you. In there, you will find my link tree, which has everything you need. So my YouTube, the Facebook group that is full of empowered, confident females, if you'd like to join our little gal group. And I would love, if you guys need further support, you're welcome to book a free coaching session with me. So jump in my Instagram link tree and you'll find everything you need in there. But it's been a blast. I'm going to go tell myself I love myself in the mirror. But I will see you guys next week.